Snow blankets Yubari, a small city nestled in the rugged mountains of Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost and coldest island. The landscape is beautiful, but beneath the serene white lies a deeper story. But the silence here is more than winter's hush, it's the sound of absence, a quiet that speaks of lives and dreams that have faded away. Once, Yubari thrived as Japan's coal capital, home to over 120,000 people. The city pulsed with energy, its streets alive with workers, families, and the promise of prosperity. The mines brought jobs, families, and bustling streets. Children played outside, shops were full, and the community felt unstoppable. But when Japan shifted from coal to oil in the 1960s, the mines closed, and the city began a slow, painful decline. The economic engine that powered Yubari simply vanished. The young left for bigger cities, chasing new opportunities, and leaving behind an aging population and empty buildings that once housed vibrant families. Today, fewer than 7,000 people remain, over half of them elderly. The sense of community has faded, replaced by a quiet struggle to maintain daily life. Bankruptcy in 2007 slashed public services and left the city's infrastructure to decay. Schools, hospitals, and public spaces have been abandoned or left to crumble. Walking through Yubari feels like stepping into a post-apocalyptic film. Empty playgrounds, abandoned shops, and silent streets where laughter and commerce once thrived. Yubari is more than a failed mining town. It's a warning, a living reminder of what can happen when a community's lifeblood is drained away. The forces that hollowed out Yubari, an aging population, a shrinking workforce, and economic stagnation, are spreading across Japan and much of Europe, threatening other towns and cities. Yubari's fate is a glimpse of what happens when a society stops renewing itself, when the young leave and the old are left behind. Its quiet streets echo a question. What happens when the next generation never arrives? Who will care for the elderly, maintain the roads, or keep the lights on? The answer matters far beyond this snowy town. Yubari's story is a mirror for other communities facing similar challenges, a call to action before it's too late. Yubari is the ghost of a future that could await many, a stark reminder that without renewal, even the most vibrant places can fade into silence. Yubari's story is repeating across Japan, echoing through countless towns and villages that once thrived with life and activity. Towns and villages everywhere are shrinking and aging, their streets growing quieter as young people leave for the cities, and the elderly are left behind. Japan's birth rate is among the world's lowest, while its life expectancy is among the highest. Fewer children are born each year, and more people are living longer than ever before. The result is a rapidly aging, shrinking population, a demographic shift that is changing the face of the nation. Rural villages vanish, schools close for lack of children, and once productive farmland goes untended, slowly being reclaimed by nature. The term Genkai Shiraku, marginal village, describes places where most residents are elderly, teetering on extinction, with few signs of renewal or hope for the future. Even cities feel the strain. Japan's population peaked at 128 million in 2008, but has now dropped below 123 million, and the decline is accelerating. Projections show it could fall under 100 million by mid-century, raising urgent questions about who will fill empty homes and keep communities alive. Labor shortages are everywhere. Shops, farms, and factories can't find enough workers, threatening the survival of local businesses and entire industries. The economic model built on a growing workforce is under threat, as fewer young people enter the job market and more retirees leave it. Who will pay for pensions and health care as the number of elderly rises and the working-age population shrinks? Who will care for the old as families grow smaller and traditional support systems weaken? The crisis that emptied Yubari is now a national emergency, forcing Japan to confront difficult choices about its future. Japan's future, and perhaps the world's, depends on how it responds to this unprecedented demographic challenge. The fate of one small town has become the story of a nation, and a warning for societies everywhere facing similar trends. To understand Japan's crisis, look back to the 1980s. The bubble economy brought prosperity, but it was built on shaky ground. When the bubble burst in the early 1990s, Japan entered decades of stagnation. Secure jobs vanished, replaced by temporary unstable work. Young people faced uncertain futures, making marriage and children seem risky. Government policies focused on propping up banks and construction, not supporting families. Affordable childcare, parental leave, and work reform were neglected. The result? Fewer people felt secure enough to start families. The seeds of today's demographic crisis were sown in those lost decades. Economic sickness blinded Japan to its fraying social fabric. Yesterday's choices created today's decline. Japan's demographic crisis is no longer unique. Across Europe, countries like Italy, Spain, Germany, and Portugal face the same challenges: low birth rates, aging populations, and shrinking towns. Italy's birth rate is among the lowest in the EU, and its population is one of the oldest. Young people leave for better opportunities, leaving behind empty villages. Governments try to lure new residents with cheap houses, but these are band-aids on a deep wound. Spain and Portugal see similar trends, worsened by economic crises and emigration. Germany's population would be shrinking without immigration. Eastern Europe faces both low birth rates and a mass exodus of workers to the West. Who will care for the elderly? How will pensions survive? How can economies grow with fewer consumers? These are the same questions Japan has faced for years. The crisis is now Europe's reality. The lessons from Japan are urgent warnings, not distant curiosities. Demographic winter is settling over the continent. The numbers tell the story. Behind every statistic lies a deeper narrative about people, families, and the future of entire nations. Japan's fertility rate is stuck at 1.2, far below the replacement level needed to sustain a population. Fewer children are being born each year and playgrounds grow quieter. Over 9 million homes sit empty, silent reminders of families that never formed and communities that are slowly fading away. Nearly 1 in 3 Japanese is over 65. In rural areas it's closer to 1 in 2. Entire towns are aging together with fewer young faces to be seen. The workforce is graying. Farmers average nearly 70 years old and construction workers are aging out. The backbone of the economy is growing older, with fewer young workers to take their place. Europe's numbers echo Japan's. The EU's fertility rate hovers around 1.5, with Italy and Spain at just 1.2. The trend is spreading across continents. Italy just recorded its lowest births since the 1800s, a dramatic milestone that signals a profound shift in society. Germany's population is old, propped up only by immigration. Without newcomers, the decline would be even steeper. These trends mean shrinking tax bases, strained public services, and less economic dynamism. Schools, hospitals, and businesses all feel the impact. A smaller, older population puts more pressure on the young, who must support both the economy and an increasing number of elderly dependents. The data is a countdown clock, ticking toward a future few are ready for. Every year, the numbers grow more urgent. Empty homes and quiet villages are not just statistics, they're warnings. They show us what happens when demographic change goes unaddressed. The demographic shift is real, and it's accelerating. The pace of change is faster than many realize. Societies must confront this reality now. The numbers demand action, and the time to act is running out. Governments have tried to fight demographic decline with policies and incentives. Japan offers baby bonuses, more daycare, even speed dating events. Europe experiments too. France subsidizes childcare. Hungary offers tax breaks for big families. Yet birth rates barely budge. These policies treat symptoms, not causes. Cash payments don't erase job insecurity or high living costs. More daycare helps, but doesn't fix punishing work cultures. Selling cheap houses won't create stable jobs. The truth: you can't bribe people into having children. Family decisions are rooted in hope and security, not government handouts. Real change means rethinking economic and social structures. The policy puzzle is far more complex than writing a check. Behind the statistics are real lives. Young people delay marriage and children not out of selfishness but because of economic insecurity. In Japan, many drift between low-wage, temporary jobs, unable to build stable futures. The traditional path, career, home, family, feels out of reach. Men feel unable to provide. Women fear leaving the workforce. Long work hours leave little time for family. In Southern Europe, youth unemployment is high, wages are low, and many adults live with parents. Delayed adulthood means fewer children. Economic crisis has eroded hope and confidence. This is not just economic, it's social and psychological. Societies that can't offer stability lose their vitality. Empty cradles are a silent testament to lost hope. To solve the crisis, we must restore security and opportunity for the young. Immigration seems like an obvious fix for shrinking populations. The US, Canada, and Australia have long relied on it. But in Japan, deep cultural resistance keeps immigration low, despite labor shortages. Europe's experience is mixed. Immigration helps but brings social and political challenges. Some countries embrace newcomers, others reject them, fearing cultural change. Immigration is not a permanent solution. Immigrants age too, and constant inflow is unsustainable. It also raises ethical questions about brain drain from poorer countries. Immigration is part of the answer, but not a magic bullet. The roots of demographic decline run deeper. Real solutions require addressing economic and social insecurity at home. Japan and Europe stand at a crossroads. The current path leads to permanent decline, smaller economies, strained welfare, and fading communities. The alternative is bold reform. Societies must create stable, well-paying jobs and affordable housing for young families. Work culture must change. Less overtime, more balance. Pension and healthcare systems need reform for an aging society. Lifelong learning and technology can help older workers stay productive. A shrinking population doesn't have to mean decline. It could mean greener cities, stronger communities, and better quality of life. But this requires courageous leadership and new thinking. Yubari's silence is a warning of what happens when choices are avoided. The time to act is now, before more towns fall silent. The future depends on the choices made today.